Hey everyone, I'm going to take a look at the Club World Cup Showtime cards in eFootball. There's a selection of 5 and we're completing a lot of objectives to get a selection contract which will allow us to choose one of these 5. So we've got 5 in here. We've got Cavani, we've got Beraldo, we've got Rahimi, we've got Torres and we've got Cremaschi. All around about the same in terms of overall rating, but obviously that doesn't always tell the whole story. There is one thing that might sway you, which is that in terms of league challenges you can use these guys in. There's only one as things stand that can be used in the league challenge, and that's Facundo Torres, who can be used in the Brazilian league challenge if you get to do the Brazilian league challenge. Obviously they could add new challenges in the future. I'm not holding my breath though, so that's something that might sway towards Torres, but we're going to have a look at these cards and we'll see how good they all are. As always, I'll put timestamps in the description, so if you want to hear about a particular player out of these 5, just click on the description and there'll be links to take you straight to them. Let's start with Beraldo. We'll start with our defender and then we'll work our way up the pitch. So Beraldo from PSG, he has a face scan. Build up centre back, not very tall. In real life, he's supposedly about 186 centimeters, so he's grown since they put him in the game. They need to update that, so he's a bit short for a centre back. Only standard form. He does get live update for PSG, but as I just touched on before, there's no league challenge you can use PSG players in, so you'd only be able to use them in divisions and maybe in your Brazil squad in the national challenge or in unlimited challenges. So you're limited in terms of challenges you can use them in. We've got a player of the week and a highlight card of Beraldo. This is better than both of those, as you'd probably expect. And he's had a pretty mixed boost compared from his GP card. Mainly his pace, his defending, his physical strength. Those are the ones they boosted the most. And then skill-wise, obviously we've got Showtime skills in each of these guys. We've got a visionary pass. Interesting choice of Showtime skill for a centre-back. They've also added weighted pass. So they've added a whole bunch of skills, actually. It looks like his GP card only has interception, aerial superiority, and blocker. Everything else is new. So we've got heading and aerial, then we've got man mark, interception, blocker, sliding, fighting. In terms of defensive skills, I think you're only really lacking acrobatic clearance. So I'd look to give him acrobatic clearance if you're going to put skills on him. And then beyond that, he doesn't need a great deal. Maybe he's outside curler. He's not overly two-footed. So acrobatic clearance, outside curler. Maybe he's through passing. Low lofted pass, maybe. He's pretty well equipped for skills, to be honest. But let's jump over to eFootball. We're going to train him up. We'll see how good his Beraldo card is. So where is eFootball? There we go. Here is Beraldo. So let's get him trained up. And all maxed out. Booster active and everything. He's looking pretty good defensively. Down the right, it's just that slight concern over his height, and his physical strength isn't amazing. So yeah, it's not looking like the most amazing Showtime centre back, but he's got some qualities. Down the left, certainly he's looking nice with that passing in particular for a centre back. The pace is decent for a centre back. Like I say, down the middle, those core defenses are looking great, but I think we're going to need to sacrifice some of those points to improve him where he's weak. So yeah, if you're not too bothered about the aerial situation, you might want to leave that. Obviously, auto allocation will be very good at defending, but I think most people would share my concerns that he's going to be a bit of a weakness aerially, and he could do with a bit more physical strength as well. I do have a second booster. I'll stick a second booster on in a minute. They don't make a huge difference, so I don't worry too much about those, but we can get a few extra, get an extra 1 point on a few attributes, so we'll do that. But let's just shuffle some points around. So straight away, 13 on defending is not efficient. Just one off there gives us 4 points. I'm going to take more off there though. I'm going to leave all these just about 90 plus and go straight to 12 on aerial. And to be honest, I'd be tempted to just do that and put the 1 spare point on goalkeeper 1. I don't think there's any more efficient way to train this guy, to be honest. I wouldn't do a great deal else. You could maybe get the acceleration up to 80 just by nicking a couple off lower body. I know you couldn't actually. You have to nick them all off lower body. Yeah, that's not going to work, is it? We'll leave them 4H. Yeah, don't know what I was doing there. Oh, in fact, yeah, there's a booster, isn't there? Hang on a minute. Booster. So booster. Aerial is the one that gives you finishing, along with heading, jumping, physical. But you can also give him... Which one is it? Physicality? Let me just check by turning the main one off. Yeah, physicality includes jumping. We obviously need to give him some jumping and physical. That makes the most sense. So if we give him physicality... yeah, and I think I'll just do that. I don't think I'll do a great deal more than that. Like I say, yeah, you might prefer to leave the defenses a bit higher. You could nick 1 or 2 off the... Or even 3 off... Let's say 2. Let's say at the 90 mark. You could nick a couple off there, get his defending back up a bit higher if you wanted to. Entirely up to you. I personally would probably do something like that. Keep them all around 91, 92, all the aerial and physical and defending attributes. That does look like a pretty solid centre back. But as you can see down here, you scroll down a bit, you see that vertical reach. That's how high you can jump. 271.9 is not great. It's not terrible. But when you come up against anyone who's putting a lot of cross into the box and they've got a striker who's only good in the air, that is going to be a problem. So yeah, I do think it's worth doing that, even with us boosting his aerial ability. That's something we've only got his vertical reach to about 271.9 there. So yeah, that is a concern with this guy, but he's a solid centre-back. As long as your opponent's not got really big strikers like Carlo, Luca, and so on, they're not spamming loads of crosses into big guys. Outside of that concern, he's got a lot of qualities. Like I said, down left he's looking pretty nice. He's got some nice passing, obviously a visionary pass. Don't see it here in eFootball Hub, but yeah, visionary pass is the one where basically it doesn't improve your passing itself. It just means that whoever receives a pass from him is going to be able to control it a bit better, which is a nice little bonus to have. Like I mentioned at the start when we first started looking at Beraldo and these cards, visionary pass is not what you'd expect on a centre back. It's a slightly strange one. You'd think maybe it's Fortress or whatever that area one is, defender directing aerial defense, Fortress, whatever nonsense it's called. But yeah, visionary is a nice one to have. Passing is important on all players, even including defenders, even goalies. So visionary pass, I don't think is a bad choice, just not the expected one in the centre back. So yeah, an interesting choice from them. And like I say, aerial concern definitely, but you shuffled a few points around, you got a pretty nice centre back outside of that slight aerial concern there. But you can't use him in the league challenge, so yeah, limited use for him, and there is the aerial concern, so a couple of negatives there, but it does look like a nice centre back card outside of that though. You do have a couple of other positions there. Let's start with DMF. Can you make him a DMF? So as always with DMFs, they go really heavy on the defensive attributes, but he's not comfortable on the ball. His passing is not great. Yes, he's got visionary pass, but I'd want to give him through passing. I'd want a few more points on passing as well, improve the passing. Down the right there, he's a bit borderline, some of these. Not great balance. The stamina I'd like a little bit more. You're playing without an active playing style. That might concern some people, not everyone. I personally would nick some points off defending there. And then I would, what would I do? Give him a bit more stamina maybe. He's got to get more passing on him. Yeah, I don't know. But for a lot of people, I think those stats down the left would be okay. Certainly down the middle he's strong enough for a DMF, and down the right I think he's just about passable. There's one or two like a bit higher, like a bit more stamina, a bit more balance. But yeah, you could use him as a DMF if you wanted to. Try and make more of that visionary pass skill. I don't know why I keep scrolling down, it's not there. Yeah, maybe you'd feel as in the midfield you get more out of that visionary pass skill, but I don't think he looks that amazing as a DMF. Definitely some qualities, certainly with the core defensive attributes, but not the playing style. The attributes a bit on the low side in the right and left columns. Yeah, not sure about DMF for me, but you could give that a go. Certainly wouldn't be too bad there. And then you got left back. Could you make him a left back? I imagine it'd be a very defensive left back. Let's see what the auto allocation says. So yeah, passable. We've still got that physicality booster one, actually. Turn that off. Let's just put that on shutdown, because that's the defensive one that gives you speed, isn't it? Yeah, so you get that speed up to 90. That's important as a left back. Could nick one off defending there. Get that dexterity up one. Get the acceleration to 80. I think I'd probably leave him around about there for left back. He could do a job, certainly, actually. Again, he won't have an active playing style because he's a build-up. Speed's good at 90. Acceleration's a bit iffy. That'll be a concern for some people. For me, as long as he's 90 plus on speed, I think the acceleration's okay, even if it's not great. Physical strength, that's good for a fullback. Balance is okay. Not amazing, but it could be worse. Stamina, borderline. I think you can get by with that. Defense is very strong. Lovely. And then down the left there, not great on the ball, you'll have to be careful, but the passing is certainly pretty decent, especially when he's got one-touch pass and got weighted and, of course, visionary pass. So, yeah, as a defensive left back, he could definitely do a job for you. And like I say, 1 or 2 attributes you'd want to be a bit higher. I personally would want to be a bit more comfortable on the ball. Some people would like him to have a bit more acceleration than that. I mean, most people would like him to have more, but I think a fair few people, including myself, would say that's just about okay if the speed's at least 90. So, yeah, I think there's plenty to be said for him as a defensive left back as well. That could be an option. Again, you might feel that you get more out of the visionary pass skill at left back, but yeah, it's down to you where you think this guy would be strongest. I think you've basically got a pretty nice centre-back who's just got a bit of a concern over his aerial ability, or you could potentially have a half-decent DMF or a pretty nice left-back, probably more of a defensive full-back than an attacking full-back. You might want to put a defensive instruction on him, hold him back, and really make him play a defensive full-back, but I'll just leave him on auto allocation to finish. Whether you go with that auto allocation, having fantastic defensively, or do what I did, making a bit stronger aerial and physically, which I would strongly recommend. There is that aerial concern. Outside of that, though, pretty nice centre back. No league challenge though, so yeah, I think the aerial concern will put a lot of people off. But and some people might find it disappointing. He's got visionary pass instead of a defensive showtime skill, but it doesn't mean that visionary is not a good skill. It's just not what you'd expect. I think there's plenty to be said for him. He's not going to be for everyone, but I think there's a fair few people who can get a decent amount of value out of this guy. It could be an interesting choice. And next up we have Cremaschi from Inter Miami. So again, there's no lead change that we can use this guy in, so that's a bit of a shame. He doesn't have a face scan. He's very young though. I imagine he'll probably get on at some point. He's a whole player centre midfielder, can play attacking midfield, can train him for defensive midfield. He could train him for left mid or right mid. We'll have a look at that on the hub in a second. Skill wise, they've added a load of skills here. So his Showtime skill is phenomenal pass. That just means his passes will be he won't be as affected so much by being off balance when he plays passes and stuff, so it keeps his passes nice and accurate if you rush them or if you play them from awkward positions and so on. And he's got one touch through, weighted, outside curler, and the only skills he normally has I think are through passing, outside curler, and I'm not sure what else. eFootball Hub says aerial superiority, but that's not there, so eFootball Hub's obviously playing up a little bit. But yeah, we've got a pretty nice selection of skills for a playmaker, really. He's got the whole player playing style, but he looks like a playmaker. He's got all these passing skills here. Got long range curler and soul control and double touch up there. A few nice ones when he gets forward, and then interception as well and fighting spirit. So he can do a bit of defensive work. Not sure how good he's going to be defensively, but we'll find out when we train him up. So let's jump over to the hub and let's get him trained up. How good is this Cremaschi card? He's decent. He's not looking amazing. The passing certainly is pretty nice. On the ball is decent, not amazing. He's got a bit of defensive ability. Bear in mind, it's one of these players where he's a centre midfielder. That's his registered position. So on auto allocation, it's gone up to 8 on defending. So we're going to do a few different builds here, but this is kind of an all-round build. We will have some points to spare for a more attacking build. Down the right, looking decent, not looking amazing. It's the first time I've had a feature version of him. What they boosted the most from his GP card, they put the most points on tight possession and kicking power, to be honest. It's a very mixed boost though. So yeah, let's just start with the defensive midfield. I'm just going to go straight to auto allocation and see if you can make him half decent DMF. And you can, to be fair. You can make him pretty decent defensively. Not as great on the ball there, and passing as well, but passable for a DMF. And on the right here, everything is kind of just about alright. You'd probably want a bit more physical contact, depending on what type of defensive midfielder you want him to be. He's definitely not going to be a kind of single pivot kind of guy. He's going to want to be in a double pivot with someone else doing a lot of the defending. But you could get away with him as a DMF. Won't have an active playing style. His whole player's not active there. Would you pick this guy up to use him as a DMF? I doubt it. I don't think he's quite good enough to. I think that'd be a waste of a free Showtime card to do that. So I'm not going to waste much more time looking at him as a DMF. But let's move him up to centre mid. Go back to the auto allocation centre mid. I think you can link a couple off his passing there. Nice to get that. Be nice to get that tackling up to the 80 mark. We'll do that straight away. We'll give him some aerial strength, some physical contact, a bit of physical strength there. Get that into the 70s. I'd be inclined to probably just do that. I think. Still not amazing there. To be honest, I'll take that random one off shooting. Put that on physical contact as well. I think that's a better use of that point. So yeah. It still does look amazing. Looks pretty tight. Looks decent. Like I say, he can do a bit of defensive work. He's got interception. He's got fighting spirit, so he can be a bit of a presence when you're having to defend when you've not got the ball. But I don't know if that's the way to get the most out of this guy. You know, he's got phenomenal pass. He's a whole player, so he's going to be making a lot of attacking runs. To make the most out of this guy, I think you're going to want him a bit further up the pitch. That's not to say be bad as a centre mid, but I think to really make the most of him, you're going to want to take all those points away from defending and really see how good you can make him going forward. So let's move him up to attacking midfield. Let's take all those points off defending. And I'll take those points off aerial for now. I might put some points back on there. But let's just beef him up a bit going forward. So we'll get the attacking awareness to 80. This is a whole player, remember. You want a bit of attacking awareness when he's bursting forward, making runs into spaces, reacting quickly to the ball. We'll get the ball control and tight possession, at least the 90 plus. We've got that +2 on dribbling, 86 to 88. I'm going to leave that there. 5 points left to play with. I think a bit of shooting would be welcome. What else would we do? There's not a lot we can do. I'd maybe just leave it there. Could get that speed up to 90. I mean, speed's not the most important thing on a whole player. In fact, yeah, let's take one off low body. That gives us 4. A couple more on finishing there. I think that's worth doing. Yeah. And then for that booster, what we're going to do for that booster, what do we need +1 on? It's not a lot, really. Physical contact would be nice. Maybe some finishing. Maybe shooting's got physical contact, doesn't it? Yes. There you go, bang. I would do that. So you get up to the 70 mark physical contact. It's not going to make a huge difference, but it's nice to get that 70 mark. An extra one on finishing as well, which is nice. An extra one on ball control. What's the other boost from shooting? Is it kicking power, isn't it? Yeah, kicking power goes +1. Yeah, nice. I would do that. I think as an attacking midfielder, whole player playing style, making good attacking runs, tidy on the ball, good passing. He's got those passing skills. He's going to have a very nice pass on him. Finishing's not amazing. He's got long range curler though, a very good skill. You could give him first time shot and long range shooting as well to help improve his finishing even more. We've got the attacking awareness up to 80. Still got a little bit of defensive ability, but that's not really the issue. It's not really going to make too much difference as an attacking mid. Pretty decent pace for an attacking mid. Bit of kicking power behind his shots. Nice balance, decent stamina. Yeah, it's a fairly tidy card. Again, though, you know, there's no league challenge to use him in. You're going to rock a USA squad in the national team challenge. I mean, if you're from the USA, you may well do. Could be very nice for that. But for most people, I don't see a great deal of use for this guy. I'm not saying it's a bad card because it's not. It's a very tidy looking card. But do you need him? Are you going to use him? Is he going to get into your main squad? Because if he's not going to get into your main squad, what squad's he going to get in? That's the real negative with this guy, unfortunately. So, yeah, I'm not sure there's a huge amount of use for this guy. Before I forget that you can train it for wide midfielder, I always seem to train centre mids as a wide midfielder. Sometimes it looks pretty random, but with this guy, it could be decent. He's got the whole player playing style, so he would have the whole player playing style active as a left mid or right mid. As a right mid, I don't think I'll change much. I think I'll just go with pretty much this build. I'll just give him pinpoint crossing. If you gave him pinpoint crossing, he's already got a load of passing skills, 90 lofted. He's not got much curl, reasonable kicking power though. You'll have a pretty nice cross on him if you play him on the right as a whole player. Tidy on the ball, bit of pace about him, good balance, attack awareness. Could be a decent option, you know, from the right midfield as a whole player, making those attacking runs, sometimes up and down the wing, but he will come inside as well as a whole player. When he comes inside, he's got his passing skills. He's got really nice passing for a wide midfielder. And when he's out wide in those wide positions, he can put a very nice cross in if you gave him pinpoint crossing. So you do have the option. If you look at these cards, you fancy a crossbow and you don't fancy Torres, who we're going to look at soon. Could be an option if you're position training for right mid, and if you're position training for left mid, passing not as important as a left mid. Obviously, he'll be cutting inside at times to get passes away, but you're also going to look to get it onto his right foot, cutting inside with that, and make use of that long range curler skill. So I would maybe take some points of passing, get his shooting up a bit. Maybe just do that. Yeah, possibly that. That maybe could work. So again, you know, if you're not fancying any of these cards, but if you're looking at this guy as a left midfielder with the whole player playing style active, that he could be tidy there. Would he be amazing? No. Could he do a decent job? Yeah, could do a very decent job. You see from the overall rating from eFootball Hub there, it's maybe not entirely accurate, but 101 is giving you a pretty rough idea. He'd be pretty effective there. So you do have that option. I'll give him a couple more shooting skills. Certainly, I'll do that, and probably in most positions, really first time shot, long range shooting. But yeah, it's a tidy card. There's a few ways you could use him. Phenomenal pass is a nice skill, but like I say, the big negative is when you're going to use him. What squads are going to get in? You're not going to get in many people's main squads, and there's no league challenge for him. So that's a big negative. But in terms of how good he is he amazing? No. Do I look at this card and think it's a particularly exciting one? No, but it's certainly not a bad one. For some people, it could well be a pretty nice option to pick up as either an attacking mid or another type of midfielder. A few ways you could use him, and yeah, it could well be a decent card for a fair few people. Mentioned crossbam, and we've got our crossbam option out of this pack. So Facundo Torres from Palmeiras. Got a face scan. First time with a feature version of him. He's a creative playmaker, right wing forward. He can play down the right or the left. They've also added attacking midfield. He doesn't look like his GP card's got that position. And they put his weaker foot usage up by 1. Although his weaker foot's not that strong, so not sure that's entirely helpful. He's got unwavering form. This is the one card in this pack you can use in the league challenge if you get to do the Brazilian league challenge. So if you get to do a Brazilian league challenge, that's a big positive. He does get live update as well, of course. Skill wise, I'm trusting eFootball, but they're not 100% reliable right now. There's one or two slight errors with skills, but it looks like what they've done is they've basically taken away penalty specialist, and they've given us a long range curler, one touch pass, pinpoint crossing, edge crossing, which is a showtime skill, and I think weighted pass is new as well. So we've got some shooting, some passing, and some crossing skills. Nice selection of skills, plenty of end product. And yeah, let's just jump straight over to eFootball, but let's train him up and see how good he is. So where's eFootball? There it is, and all trained up. Facundo Torres looks decent, but for a player who's supposed to be all about end product and a creative playmaker, that passing ain't great, and the finishing ain't great. From his GP card, like I said, it's the first time I've had a feature version of him, so no one to really compare him to, no other versions, but from his GP cards, a pretty mixed boost. The attributes that boosted the most, the tight possession, that's welcome, that pushes it up alongside the other two on the ball attributes, balances that out, and lofted pass, which still isn't amazing. But this is with him auto allocated as a right wing forward though. They've only put 4 on passing, so I'm going to shuffle some points around. Let's nick a couple off his on the ball attributes. We've got that second booster to play with, remember. and go straight into passing. We're just going to go straight into a crossband build, make him good at crossing. We just need 2 more points for passing. We'll go from 86 to 88 and lofting. I think that'll do it, to be honest, because we don't have that many points to spare from elsewhere. There you go, easy peasy. Would I do anything else? Got a bit of speed, certainly got some acceleration. There's nowhere I think we can really afford to spare points, but we do have that second booster. So I think the obvious thing to do when I'm looking at what boosters to use, there isn't an obvious attribute that we need to nudge up by 1. Look at the attributes where you spent the most points. So you see with dribbling and dexterity, we've gone past 8, and they go in groups of 4. The first 4, 1 point each. The next 4, 2 points each. So if we reduce dribbling or dexterity by 1, we would take 3 points. All right, we would get 3 points back. So if we take which one are we going to do? Let me just think. Let's just take one off dribbling, and if we give him. In fact, no, because if we take one off dribbling, you see you lose 2 off type possession. And the reason for that, if we take those boosters off, you see on the game plan boost, you see type possessions at 85, that's where you go +3. Unless you've got an 89 rated manager, going down 1 on that, you go down to +2 territory. So that's why we lose 2 points from, and where's the game plan boost, from type possession. We do that. We don't want to do that really. What about dexterity? Right, dexterity is okay, but I don't know if there's a booster to give us attacking awareness and balance, unless it's... Is it shooting? Does shooting do that? Let me just skim through it in quickly. Can we get attacking awareness and balance? I don't think we can. No, it's a shame. Yeah, so I'm not sure which boosters to use, to be honest. It's easy to overthink it. I always say these boosters, you get a few attributes +1. It's not a massive difference. I think, to be honest, what I'll be inclined to do is I'll just give him... To be honest, I'll give him crossing. Let's just give him crossing. He's going to be a cross spammer, isn't he? Get that lofty pass to 89. And if you really wanted to, you could... Oh, there we go. Boom. We've ended up with 90 lofty pass. So that worked out pretty nicely. So the crossing booster and that build right there, you've got some nice pace on him, nice balance. Attacking awareness is nice at 80. 90 plus all the on-the-ball attributes. Low at 86. That's fine for a wide man. 90 lofted pass. A bit of curl on him, a little bit of kicking power. He's going to have a nice cross. Obviously, he's got pinpoint crossing and he's got edge crossing. You stick him on the left-hand side. This guy is a left footer. He's left-footed. You put him on the left-hand side, getting up and down the left wing, putting crosses in. Could be very, very effective. If you're putting a lot of cross into the box at the moment, like a lot of people are, then I think that build right there could be pretty nice for a bit of cross span. If you want to use him on the right-hand side as an inverted winger, obviously you can do that, and you can cut inside and put crosses in with his left foot. But if you wanted to make use of his shooting a bit more finishing on him, and if you're not too bothered about putting too many crosses in, which might be a waste of a player with edge crossing, I don't know, but you could take some points back away from passing. Let's just take that booster back off for a second. In fact, let's just put it straight on shooting, because we want to make his shooting a bit better. Could do with a bit more speed, get that back up to 90. Can we get his finishing up to 80? That's the question. We can. Yeah, I think that's probably about the only way. That's probably the best way you could do it. So yeah, if you want him off the right wing, cutting inside, not as good at passing or crossing now, but that finishing up to 80, he's got long range curler, bit of curl, bit of kicking power. Could work pretty well. A creative playmaker though, I always say a creative playmaker, I don't particularly like that playing style out wide. They're not very aggressive with their attacking runs. They will drift inside a little bit, but when you're kind of building up and you're kind of on the attack, especially on the counter, they will kind of hang back and just kind of wait around for you to give them the ball so they can play make. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. Depends on the way you play. That might be good for you, but for me personally, I like countering at pace. I like my players making attacking runs, giving me options. So it doesn't always work so well for me. But one thing I will say, I love Angel Di Maria in this game. I've got a Di Maria card as a creative playmaker. I've had it a long time now, and he's one of the few players who's a creative playmaker who I love using out wide. He works fine for me. So it's not going to work necessarily, not necessarily going to work badly. It's not necessarily going to be a bad one for you. And for me personally, I'm looking at this guy thinking, okay, not the playing style I like out wide, but based on Di Maria, the fact that, like Di Maria, he's a left foot with a bit of end product, and he's going to put some nice crosses in, I'm pretty tempted, to be honest. So yeah, like I say though, it's all personal preference. You might find that playmaker playing style great out wide. So out wide on the right, cutting inside, whether you build him like that or whether you give him better passing, could be very nice. In fact, I didn't even put I did put the shooting boost on, didn't I? Yeah. So yeah, whichever way you build it, it could be nice on the right, cutting inside onto his left foot. With the initial build I did on the left, got that quite lofted pass up to 90. Could be very effective whipping some crosses in for you. Then in the middle, could be making my number 10, could be making an attacking midfielder. I'm going to take all those points off finishing. Speed's not quite so important, but we could do with a bit of kicking power. I don't think attacking most is that important on a creative playmaker. Let's just nick a couple of points of dexterity because I want to see how high we can get the low pass. Get to 88. Can we spare 2 points from somewhere? I don't really want to go 88 to 86 on balance, but I'm not sure where else would be best to get the points from. I'll just do that. Yeah, I'll just do that. And we're still got the shooting boost on. Whoops. Yeah, I would do that, I think, as an attack midfielder. His shooting's pretty terrible now, but yeah, I'll do that. I don't see anywhere where we desperately need just 1 point. So that booster, I think I'll probably just put it on passing, actually. I'll just put it on passing and get a bit of kicking power with it as well. Yeah, I'll do that. Could be pretty nice. He's got the passing skills already. So as an attack midfielder, he's a bit lacking in physical contact, so he might get bodied a bit in the physical tussles in the middle of the park, but certainly he's got some pace. He's got a bit of balance. He's going to be lovely on the ball, good passing. Not going to have great finishing, but yeah, creative playmaker in the attack midfielder position could be pretty nice. Could be very effective for you creating some goals. So got a few ways you can use this guy. Obviously, the showtime skill he's got is the main thing people are going to be looking at and wanting to make the most of. And it is edge crossing. So the initial build that I did as a left winger, I think may well be the ideal build, the one you're going to get where you're going to get the most value out of this guy. That's the way I would be using this guy if I picked him up, because like I say, if he's got edge crossing, then you might as well make the most of it. Otherwise, it's pretty much just a highlight card, really. But if you do that, and like I say, you can make him a nice attack mid or potentially a pretty nice right winger as well. But as a left winger, especially with edge crossing, he looks pretty handy. If you don't get to do the Brazilian League challenge, that is a bit of a shame. But maybe you rock a Uruguay squad. Maybe you just want a new winger with edge crossing, because a lot of people like that skill. A lot of people putting a lot of crosses in. Could well be handy for you. It's like with all these players, it just depends on whether he fits into your kind of system and whether you think you'll get good value out of a player like this guy. But he is versatile. You can play him left, right, or middle, but especially left wing now. I think for a lot of people with edge crossing, this guy could be a pretty handy one. And next up we have Soufiane Rahimi from Al Ain. He is a prolific winger. He's a left wing forward. They've added centre forward and SS as positions. He does not have a face scan. That is brutal. Come on, Konami, hook a brother up. He's actually had a previous Showtime card, and they still haven't given him a face scan. That's pretty rough. Yeah, and that previous Showtime card actually is pretty similar to this one. It was a centre forward. You can train it as a left wing or a centre forward, but either of those positions is pretty similar to this one, really. Stats are shuffled around a little bit, but not a lot of difference. So if you got that one, don't really need this one. His weaker foot accuracy is +1 on this one. And yeah, and the boost he's had is pretty mixed from his GP card. It boosted a lot of his attacking stats pretty nicely, and his physical contact. They're doing that with a lot of attacking players recently. Skill wise, looks like his GP card has only got rising shots, first time shot, and one touch pass. In addition to his showtime skill, phenomenal finishing, we've got a whole load of skills added. So we've got heading there, and acrobatic finishing, and we got long range curler, long range shooting, pinpoint crossing. Interesting. Not sure he's going to really do a lot of pinpoint crossing. Fighting spirit as well. So we've got a very good selection of skills there. Most importantly though, because this guy's clearly all about shooting, we got phenomenal finishing alongside a bunch of shooting skills there. To be fair though, he does a one-touch pass and pinpoint crossing. You could give him through passing, so in terms of passing, you could set him up pretty nicely. But I don't know how good those attributes are going to get though for passing. But let's find out. Let's jump over to eFootball Hub and let's train this dude up. So starting as a left winger, phenomenal finishing. His finishing is only 80. Yeah, don't know about that. I'm not overly excited by this card straight away. He's got the breakthrough booster, whatever the hell that means. So yeah, as a left winger, am I going to change much there? I don't know what you could really do. I don't know what would really be a efficient way of training, because I'm looking at where the points have been allocated. There aren't many points there you can spare. I mean, you can spare that one for a start. I don't want on defending. Surely, if they got 1 point spare on a winger, would you not put it on aerial? Why defending? I don't know. Anyways, yeah, got his physical up to 70. Awesome. Yeah, the passing sucks. You're going to have to be very careful with his passing. On the ball, you could spare some points from there. It's a shame to go below 80 on anything, but we could do that. And then you've got that 1 point on aerial there. You could nick one off speed, but I don't want to lose too much kicking power. I'll do that. I think I'll do it just for now, though. And then dexterity, again, you could nick a couple there. How good can we make his finishing? We want to make the most of that phenomenal finishing skill. Yeah, that's about it. I mean, you can nick a couple more passes and you can get him from 86 to 88. That doesn't look bad, to be fair. 88 finishing, bit of curl, bit of kicking power with that phenomenal finishing, and he's got long range curl, long range shooting, first time shot. I'd be inclined to maybe do something like that, get that finishing right up. You're suddenly in business there, because initially 80 for finishing when he's got phenomenal finishing. I'm not sure that was really the most exciting looking Showtime card, but I think looking like that, it looks a bit more decent now. It just depends what you want to do though. You might want to beef his passing up. I mean, you can go that down to maybe he's at 8 on shooting there. Get his passing up to 78 low. You give him through passing. He's already got one touch pass and make his passing a lot more decent as a wide man. Yeah, a couple of ways you could play that. You do have that second booster. What would you do for the second booster? You could just thinking you could actually put one back on his dribbling and then give him, I don't know, technique maybe. And you get all the on the ball ones and you get the type session up to 90. You've got 4 points left, one more shooting, 1 point spare. Stick it back on defending. No, stick on aerial. Yeah, you could do that. That could work. 85 for finishing. That's +5 from what the auto allocation gave us. Over 80 for curl and kicking power still. We're back up to 90 plus all the on the ball attributes. 84 attacking awareness is good for a wide man. 90 speed acceleration. Bit of balance. Would like it to be a bit higher, but he's got a little bit of physical strength. Yeah, he's looking decent. He's not looking overly exciting, but with phenomenal finishing and all the shooting skills he's got, it could be pretty handy from the left flank. You could train him for a striker, or you could use him as a striker. He's already trained for striker. Should we look at him as an SS first? Let's just see what the auto allocation says. I don't think it's going to be too exciting what he looks like as an SS. So that passing is not great. You definitely need to give him through passing to play him as an SS. You could afford to take some points off shooting. It is a shame when he's got phenomenal finishing, but as an SS, we've got to get the passing up. What else can we do here? Get acceleration to 90. Yeah, I'd maybe just do that. Might not be bad. He's not the strongest physically. He's not got great passing. So yeah, I'm not sure many people are going to look at this guy as an SS. He won't have like their playing style. You need to give him through passing. Would he be that amazing? I don't know. Phenomenal finishing would be handy on an SS just behind the attack, but I think if people are going to use him in another position, it's more likely they'd use him as a striker. So let's look at him as a striker. And again, I'll just go to auto allocation and see what the game tells us. I'll get that second booster off initially. So 88 for awareness and finishing. That is not exciting on a striker. Can we spare some points? Just nick some off aerial, one off lower body. Get the shooting up to 89. Get dexterity to 89. I don't think, is there a second booster where you get finishing and attacking awareness? Maybe striker's instinct. Yes, boom, there you go. That's maybe not the most efficient way to do it, going up to 13 dexterity, but it's nice to get that 90 mark. I've just got a thing for that 90 mark. It's nice to get it into the blue, but yeah, centre forward, to be fair, pretty nice. Got phenomenal finishing, got those other shooting skills as well. That build for me is, I think that's, if I was going to use this guy as a striker, that's pretty much exactly what I do, I think. Got that acceleration right up to 95. The awareness and finishing at 90, speed at 90. Tidy on the ball for a striker. The passing's not too bad. I would still give him through passing. It's not too strong physically, but it could be lower. Decent balance. Yeah, as a striker, it looks alright. Yeah, it's another one of these cards like 4 of the 5. There's no league challenge to use him in. That does go against him. You're going to rock a Morocco squad. Is he going to get into your main squad? There's a big question mark over how much use you get out of this guy. He is a Showtime card. He's got phenomenal finishing, and that is a skill that will basically means that if you rush your shot, so if you're kind of slightly off balance when you hit a shot, it won't impact the accuracy or how cleanly you get your shot away as much as it would. It just kind of protects you against messing your shots up a little bit. So it is a helpful skill. So yeah. As a striker, could be pretty decent. As a wide man, kind of the left wing onto his right foot, as a prolific winger, could be pretty decent. Is it exciting enough that you'd want to use your contract on him when there's no league change you can use him in, and there's potentially not a lot of use for him in terms of the modes you'd use him in? I'm kind of saying the same thing about most of these cards, to be honest. I don't want to sound negative because they're all good cards and they're freebies, so we should be grateful. Really, it is a decent card, but yeah, I'm not sure anything about this card really stands out and makes me think this is the most exciting one in the pack. But certainly he could be a very decent centre forward. Could be very decent off that left wing as well. But speaking of centre forwards, we've got one more to look at, and he is a centre forward. So yeah, a decent one, Rahimi. Not necessarily the best in this pack, and they're all pretty much the same really. But yeah, you got a couple of ways you could use him. If you do think he's going to make his way into your squad for any particular mode or even in your main squad, which he might do, he could well be a handy one, and that phenomenal finishing skill can be a decent one. So yeah, potentially a good card in a couple of different ways. And here is our last card. We have got Edinson Cavani from Boca Juniors. So again, no lead change. Bit of a downer with this one. Might be one for nostalgia. Got a face gun, of course. He's a goal poacher. And we've had a few versions of Cavani. We've had the best previous versions are a couple of highlights when he was at Valencia. To be honest, they're not far off this one. The difference really is that those two highlights, the kind of best highlight cards we've had of Cavani, they had a bit more attacking awareness than this one. They had a bit more heading. Interesting, because this one's got bullet header. But yeah, his two best highlights previously had better heading than this one, but this one's a bit better on the ball, a bit more passing, a bit more pace, a bit more balance. So yeah, on the whole, this one's obviously a bit better. Although one thing those two previous highlights did have was they had a lot more defensive engagement. Not sure that'll make a huge amount of difference to you, but yeah, let's go train him out. Although in fact, we'll look at skills first. My bad, I nearly forgot the skills. So again, I'm not 100% trusting of eFootball Hub right now, but it looks like they've taken away ship shot control, penalty specialist, I think track back and captaincy. I think long range shooting is new. I think fighting spirit new. Surely he's already got that. But they've added aerial superiority. And they've given him bullet header. I think that's just about it for skills. So yeah, this is a bullet header card. And we've got a pretty good selection of skills now on Cavani: heading, acrobatic finishing, aerial superiority, obviously bullet header. And we've got first time shot, long range curler, long range shooting, acrobatic finishing. Yeah, we've got a good selection of skills for this guy. And what they've done is on his attributes as well from his GP card. It's a pretty mixed boost, but the attributes that have had the biggest boost are dribbling, heading, even though it was better on some previous highlight cards, and pace. He's had a boost to his pace. Interesting. I was hoping he'd have a big boost to his jumping, but that might be a deal breaker for some people. Let's just have a look over on eFootball Hub though. Let's train him up, and we're going to just see how good this Cavani card is. So you get more boosted up, all trained up. About 6 foot tall, 83 jumping, vertical reach, 268.6. Is bullet header really the skill you want on Cavani? Probably not. So yeah, like I say, that might be a deal breaker for a lot of people. I think, to be honest, the nostalgia of a good Cavani card might be more appealing to some people than the Showtime skill. I think phenomenal finishing might have worked better on him, but obviously they put that on Rahimi. They don't like to put the same skill on more than one in the same pack. But yeah, it's just going to be a question of whether you build Cavani to make use of his Showtime skill, or if you just do what I might do myself, because I'm torn between Torres for a bit of cross spam and Cavani for the nostalgia. If I get Cavani, I think I'd be inclined to just build him to be a good goal poacher and just take that bullet header skill as a bonus, to be honest. But we'll do a few builds on Cavani. We're going to see how good he is with a few different builds. So we'll start with a kind of all-round build. So we'll start off by we'll just leave his finishing at the 90 mark and give him a bit more pace because he's a goal poacher. In fact, I'm going to give him a bit of everything. Let's just see. Hang on. Don't really need the passing so much. Get all his on the ball attributes 80 plus. A couple of dexterity. You're not going to make his balance good no matter what you do, but we'll leave it at 70 at least. And let's just get him some more physical strength. There we go. And get him that. We're just about getting the +3 from 86 to 88 on jumping if you've got an 88 manager. I know there's 89 managers, but not many have got them at this point. But yeah, as an all-round build, I think I'll be inclined to consider that maybe. So the awareness and finishing at 90, on the ball all 80 plus. Passing isn't brilliant, but it could be worse. Got a little bit of pace. He's certainly got a bit of a jump on him. Physical contact at 83, so he's got a bit of strength even if the balance is poor and his stamina's not amazing. Yeah, it's kind of a decent looking striker list, but not an amazing one. If you're picking a free Showtime card, is this as good a card as you'd want for a selection contract for a free Showtime card? I'm not sure. Maybe it's not. It's got a bit of everything. I think it could be a pretty handy one. I mentioned those two highlight cards of his, the two best ones we've had. I've actually got one of them. I've had him a long time. It's been pretty good for me, to be honest. He feels alright on the ball. He doesn't feel. You look at that low bounce. I've spoken about Batistuta recently and how I've just never got along with him. He feels really heavy. If you look at the stats of Batistuta compared to this Cavani here, you think Batistuta would feel better, but my Cavani is not far off this one, and he feels better than Batistuta to me. He's always felt pretty nice. He scored goals for me. He's been pretty decent. It's one of the reasons I'm quite tempted by this card, to be honest. So yeah, with the good snatching skills, obviously there's a few that you can't see on here that we've just seen in game, primarily bullet header. But he's got the skills to get in the under crosses and with his shooting. And that build is an all-round build. Could be a decent one. Like I say, you'd just be building him to be just a kind of all-rounder as a goal poacher, and just take that bullet header as a bonus on those occasions when he does win a header, which, you know, he will win a few, not too many. He's got aerial superiority. He's quite physically strong. He's got a decent jump. You see there, he gets his vertical reach with this build. At least he gets vertical reach to just over 270, which is not amazing. If you really want a big beefy striker to dominate defenders, you want to be looking around the 280 mark, something like that. But 270 or so, yeah, it's not bad. He will get on the Edinson crosses. He's just not going to dominate centre backs. So yeah, as an all-round build, could be a decent one there. But like I say, just a decent build for a Showtime card. It's probably not going to excite too many people. So let's do a couple more builds. In fact, I didn't put a booster on him, did I? Hang on. Gonna forget that booster. We're gonna go +1 on several attributes because it'll make all the difference. Shooting, there you go. 90 kicking power. Bang. Amazing. Yeah, that's not going to make a huge difference, but nice to get 90 kicking power. But yeah, there you go. That's an all-round build. I do think it'd be pretty decent like that. It's not too dissimilar to my Cavani card, actually. So yeah, I would say that looks like it would be a pretty effective build. But like I say, is it exciting? Does he look exciting enough for you to use to choose him as your free Showtime card? Not sure. For some people, maybe. I do think it'd be very decent, but no league challenge. And like I say, you got 4 other Showtimes to choose from. I don't know if that's quite going to sway you, but turn that second boost off. We do a slightly different build. So let's do a build. We'll forget bullet header, and we'll just forget that the aerial almost entirely. Let's just see if we can make him quick. 12 on lower body. Yep. What have we got left? 2 points left. 2 on aerial. Why not? And let's do a booster that gives him some speed. Shooting doesn't give him speed. What gives him speed? Ball carrying gives him speed and some technique. Yeah. There you go. So we can get him speed of 90. We can get 80 plus always on the ball attributes. Kicking power is up to 93 now. Nice. You will notice that having a bit, put a bit of welly behind the shots. As a goal poacher, I'd still like a bit more in his acceleration, but I think he looks decent. I think he looks alright there. He's certainly got more speed than Mike Cavani has. You will benefit from some speed on a goal poacher when he's trying to run in behind the defenders. A little bit unrealistic, to be fair. 37-year-old Cavani with 90 speed, but you're not going to complain if you pick him up and you make the most of it. So yeah, again, you're forgetting the bullet header. Even less vertical reach now, 267.3. But he's got the skills in the air and with the shooting skills. And with that build, like I say, you got a bit of speed on him now. Make the most of that playing style. It's not too dissimilar to the previous build, but I think it looks decent there. And I've got to say personally, I am tempted. I am very tempted to pick him up for a bit of nostalgia. And I do think it'd be pretty effective. It's just question is, when are you going to use him? Do you rock a Uruguay squad? Is he going to get in your main squad for divisions? There's no league challenge to use him in. I think it's mainly going to be one for people to put in theme squads, maybe doing some kind of past and present for Man United or for Napoli or someone, or PSG. I do imagine there's a fair few people who want to put for some nostalgia. He's played for a lot of teams. He's a popular player. So yeah, he may well be popular for people just for that reason. And if that's the reason you're tempted by him, and you're not too bothered about bullet header, whether it's the all-round build or this build, could be an effective one. Like I said, I've enjoyed my one, but we're going to do one more build before I finish up. And that is going to be a crossband build because he has bullet header. So can we make Cavani good in the air? That's the question, because a lot of people have been suggesting with this guy that because he's not the tallest, he's not got crazy jumping, that bullet header's wasted on him. So it probably is, but let's just see, can we do a build and we just have to sacrifice a few points from other areas. But can we do a build where he's just going to be a physical machine who's going to dominate defenders in the air? We can forget about the on-the-ball stuff. We just want him to be a beast in the air here. Give him one more dexterity. Don't need as much lower body if you're just going to be launching crosses at him. You do need a whole load of aerial. So let's go to 12 on aerial. Ooh, goalkeeper 1, hello. We'll go 4 on there. We've got 3 points left, hello. Interesting. So let's give him the aerial booster, of course. Got the 97 jump in there. And then we've got 3 points left. Hang on. Tell you what we're actually going to do. It's not the most efficient way to do it, but we're trying to make him a monster in the air. You need a bit of physical strength in the air, don't you? I'm going to take one back from goalkeeper 1. And go one more in aerial. And then we get 90 physical contact. Interesting. So heading 98. Jumping 97, physical 90. What is our vertical reach now? 277.9. Okay, now you're in business. So there are people doubting whether bullet head is wasted on this guy. And yes, if you do this build, 88 awareness, 88 finishing is not exactly amazing. He's not going to feel too great on the ball. He's not going to be the quickest. But if you do just want to launch a load of crosses into the box for this guy, you're getting up towards 280 there. You've got heading, bullet header, aerial superiority, acrobatic finishing. That build could be effective. Is it necessarily a good enough build that you want to pick him for your free Showtime card? Maybe, maybe not. But certainly heading at 98, jumping at 97, he's going to win a lot of headers. He's going to score a lot of headers. He's physically, you've got that physical strength up to 90 as well. If you don't think it's really necessary to get to the 90 mark on physical there, you could take those 4 points back from aerial. 1 back in goalie one. You can put 3 on dribbling and make him a bit better on the ball again. That could work for you. You could even take 1 more off goalie 1 and go to 4 on dribbling. Get that dribbling up to 80 maybe. I do think it could be pretty effective that way, to be honest. Again, not amazing. He doesn't, he's not on the kind of level of kind of beefy legend cards and all the rest. There are better Showtime cards, but these are free Showtime cards. I do think three ways you could build this guy that I've just given you there. An all-round build, which is pretty much what I've given him my version of Cavani, and he's been good for me. You can give him a bit more speed, 90 speed on the goal poacher. He could be very effective that way, to be fair. Or you could do what I've done there and just make him an aerial monster, which I think some people maybe don't realise you can do. Because that vertical reach is the key thing, really. You can get him right up into the high 270s with vertical reach, physically strong. And of course, he's got the skills, heading, acrobatic finishing, aerial superiority, and bullet header. So yeah, I think you can make the most of that bullet header skill to a fair extent. But you've got a few ways you could use this guy. Whether you want to pick him up for the bullet header Showtime skill, or whether you want to just pick him up for the nostalgia. There's reasons why you might want to pick him up. It's a shame you can't use him in league challenges and all the rest. Obviously, I covered that. But yeah, I do think there are 1 or 2 builds that where you could get a fair amount of value from this Cavani card. So there are your 5 choices for a free Showtime card. They've done a few of these things lately. I'm hoping it continues. I'm wondering if this is, I mentioned this on the stream recently, I'm wondering if they've found that by doing these campaigns where, the first week you have to grind to get loads of objectives, and then you have to kind of wait to the second week to get the final objective, and then finally get your selection contract. And then when you get your selection contract, you pick up your player, and then you've got a reason to play the game again because you want to try the new player out. I just wonder, has this really got a lot of people playing the game more? Has it got all the stats up, the play time up? They're going to keep doing it. I'm not complaining if they do. I think it's great. I may have sounded a bit negative speaking about some of these players individually and the pack as a whole, with the fact that only one of them can be used in a league challenge, and a lot of us don't get to do that league challenge, the Brazilian one. But these are freebies. I don't think we can complain. I'll always criticize things that are there to be criticized, but you got to praise them when they do good things. This is another free Showtime card. We've had a few good free things lately, Showtimes and Legends. And for a freebie, I think you got decent ones here. And the fact that we get to choose as well. We didn't always used to get the choice. It used to just be, here's a freebie, like it or lump it kind of thing. Much like the point store these days, everyone cries out for cards. So they say, okay, here's Conor Gallagher. Yeah, thanks for that. But we got a choice. You like spamming crosses? Torres or Cavani could be useful for you. Beraldo could be an interesting defender, mainly centre back. You could make him a left back, maybe a defensive mid. Rahimi, I think Rahimi and Cremaschi, hope I said that right. I'm guessing they're probably going to be 2 of the less popular ones in the pack, but they do it pretty tidy. Cremaschi as a whole player, especially as an attacking mid, could be very handy. You could make him a right or left mid as well. Could be decent that way if you want to position train him. And yeah, Rahimi could be decent as well. Wide left or up front with that phenomenal finishing skill. So 5 decent cards there. Like I say, personally, it's going to be between Cavani and Torres for me. I'm going to pick up Torres on my Brazil account. I think I'm going to do that first and try him out on there. And if he feels decent enough, I'll probably get him on my main account, to be honest, because I'm quite happy with my Cavani card. Not least because he's eligible for the Spanish League Challenge, and I like using him in that when he's got form. So yeah, but I'm tempted by Cavani. Like I say, I think some people have seen the bullet header skill, seen the fact he's not the tallest, and maybe just not taking a second look and just assume that he's not going to be. You can't make him that good in the air, but you can make him pretty decent. So might be worth a second look if that was your initial impression of Cavani. But yeah, 5 decent cards in there. I don't think any of them are amazing. I don't think any of them are game changing, but they're freebies, so you can't expect them to be. I think it's another pretty cool campaign by Konami. So be interested to know your guys' thoughts. Let me know what you think about these cards. Let me know who you're thinking about trying. Looks like Thursday we'll get the last of our objectives done to be able to choose them. So especially from Thursday onwards, we'll start hearing people's opinions on how good they are. But yeah, be interested to hear your thoughts for now. Thank you for watching as always. Hopefully I've helped you to make your decision. I'll be back Thursday with whatever packs they add to the game on Thursday. So have a fantastic rest of your week. Jump in the Discord if you're not already in the Discord. And I'll see you on Thursday for a pack review or for a live stream. So take it easy. Have a great week. I'll see you next time.